when living with chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia, it can be really frustrating at times with how you feel about your body and how sluggish it feels, how that post-exertional malaise, that feeling of when you overdo it physically or socially or mentally, you can just feel so lousy. And then you start falling behind in things you think you should be doing. And that was the way for me for many years in both physical exercise, but sports, also just in terms of work as well. I remember just feeling like it was just this unsurmountable mountain of things that I needed to do and had no energy for. But then it just got more and more complex. And as my debilitating energy crisis was increasing, I just had to pull back from work altogether. And I was really frustrated with my body for many years. Kind of like, that stubborn mule that just doesn't want to do work, and it wouldn't want to do what my dreams and aspirations were, for things like leading ministry on UBC campus, other campuses as well in the past, but also doing projects both nationally and internationally, leading students and staff. I wanted to do all these things for God's glory, but it just seemed like my body was resisting this more and more and more, and it just got more fatigued. I just found that I was starting to go through the motions. But one of the toughest things is I was just so hard on myself, and that mental component of this disease is very challenging, and I felt very unable to sympathize or empathize with my body and its struggles. I was more chastising it all the time and angry at it and frustrated at it. And so, just, lying on my bed at night, oftentimes just feeling wired and tired, that sense of failure from the day ahead, or from the day past, but also anxiety about the next day ahead with all the things I need to do. But as I started to go through different therapy, I found that I was starting to learn self-compassion. And this means that just like I would have compassion on a person who, say, broke a bone or did something to injure themselves, I would, give them compassion. I would open doors for them. I would carry their stuff. I would look out for them. I would have compassion on them. But when I have this sluggish body, it's harder to have self-compassion. You feel like, you have to be a goer and a doer. You have to get things done. You have to be athletic, because I have a normal body. But of course, it's not normal if you have a crisis of energy production. And so I started to practice self-compassion and to accept where my body's at, and just to learn to be able to have that compassion towards myself and practice it more often, instead of those negative self-talk where I'm such a loser, or my body is just so lousy and sluggish, or I'm lazy, or I'm just not as good as other people. Look at what they can do. I especially felt that when we would have staff conferences, and it's not just the conference itself, it's the surrounding components of it as well. And so we would often have sports or just recreational times or social times, and any time I had for just off time, I would be in my room just resting and trying to recover from the conference, from the overstimulation, from the exhaustion of taking so much in, and just trying to do the basics, let alone all these extracurricular stuff as well. So I would be really hard on myself and just feel so lousy about my circumstance, my body, just so angry that I can't go out and enjoy times with my friends and socialize, and often feeling isolated and frustrated and lonely. But it's just important in those moments to have self-compassion upon yourself, to recognize that you do have a disease, that you do have an illness, you do have the equivalent of a broken leg that would inhibit a person from doing certain physical things. It was, for me, a remembrance that the brain, the body, the nervous system is really important, obviously, to the functioning of our body. And if that's broken, then it's really important to take care of it and slow down. And so I've been learning these things slowly to practice self-compassion and to extend that to others who also have the same illness or similar illnesses like concussions or just old age and all these things. So practice self-compassion yourself, and give yourself that encouragement you need and that compassion you need.